the Always Believe House. Oh, today we're going to have a rock and roll find because we're doing Staar Review 27. If you printed this off, it does not look the same as what we've been doing. I'm really going through all of the teaks that we've done in the fall. You're getting them all, okay? So this is going to be a really good review for you. These are going to repeat for the next 3 weeks. So these problems are going to be similar for the next 3 weeks, and you're going to have a blast. So let's get rocking and rolling. And a magical whiteboard appears, and we're about to have F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. Oh, so let's get going. If you look at this problem, all of these circled numbers are the teaks, okay? So these are the teaks. This is what I've been told by the state of Texas to teach you, okay? And the problems that you are doing are very similar to what you're seeing on Staar. If you can do these, you're going to get commended on the Staar, okay? So let's get going. We're going to go to the first problem. On this problem, remember the 36 has an exponent of 1. You're going to take that 1/2 and distribute it. So we're going to have 36, 1 times a half, x, 4 times a half, and y, 14 times a half. This is going to turn into 36 to the 1/2. And remember, 36 to the 1/2 is the same thing as the square root of 36, which is just going to be 6. And then x, 4 times a half is 2, 14 times a half is 7. So that's the answer, okay? On the next one, you're going to have 27 to the 1/3. Type that into the calculator, okay? Type it in the calculator. It's going to give you the answer, okay? That's the cubed root. This would be the cubed root of 27, okay? Go to number 2. You can do that on your own. Number 2, you're going to graph this into the calculator. You've been doing this since August. Then hit Control T, and then on -8, you'll put the answer here. -2, put the answer here. Get to the 0, put the answer here, and the 6. This right here will be your Y-intercept, won't it? Okay? If any of them equal to 0, that would be your 0, right? Keep going to number 3. Okay, you have not done a sequence yet. So I'm just going to show you how to get the answer. In the next unit, I'm going to teach you sequences. A sequence starts from the first term instead of the Y-intercept. So on this problem, if you notice, you just keep adding 3 in it. The 3 is the common difference, and this is the first term. So the formula for a sequence is a to the n. The n stands for what number in the sequence you want, equals the first term plus n minus 1 times the common difference. So all we need to do is replace this number and this number. So I'm going to have a to the n equals, my first term is 12, plus I got the n minus 1, and I will show you when we teach this why you have the n minus 1 and the common difference is 3. That's all you got to know. Piece of cake. Let's keep going. Number 4. So on number 4, we got a factor. This is one of the most important things you learn in this class all year, how to factor. So if I were to take the 20 and 6 and multiply it, I get 120. I can't take a GCF out because of the 7. Now then, I want the factors of 120 to subtract and give me 7. Which can I multiply, subtract to get 27? Remember, you're going to graph this and punch 120 divided by x. You graph that and then hit Control T. And that gives you all the factors. Then you're going to hit the down button until you subtract and get 7. I already know them. It's going to be 8 times 15. So 8 times 15, multiply and give me 120. If I subtract, I get 7. I'm going to write that from the biggest to the smallest. This sign goes to the biggest factor. And then what do we do to -15 to get to the -7? We got a plus 8. -15 plus 8 is -7. The opposite of multiply is a divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 20x. And then I can simplify. Both of these divide by 5. I'm going to get -3 over 4x. Both of those divide by 4. I'm going to get 2 over 5x plus 2 over 5x. Now then, -3 times 2 is -6. 4x times 5x is 20x squared. Ding, ding, ding. Those are my factors. So my factors are 4x plus or minus 3 and 5x plus 2. Remember, if you were to graph both of these, if you were to graph them, they're going to graph the same curve. Okay, they're going to graph the same curve. If you were to graph 20x squared minus 7x minus 6, hit enter, it graphs a parabola. If you were to graph 4x minus 3 times 5x plus 2, put the parentheses in there, it's going to graph the same parabola. That's how you can work the problem backwards. Let's go to the next one. On the next one, hopefully you look at this and see, ding, 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 25 and 36 are perfect squares. The square root of 25 is 5x. And the square root of 36 is 6. The middle sign's plus. Does it work? Let's look at the outside and inside braces, or the arches. 30x and 30x add up to 60x, did it? So this is the answer. The other way to write that is 5x plus 6 squared. I'm going to let you do this one on your own. It's going to get really big. 14 times 18 is a big number. You got to subtract to get 9. You're going to graph it, hit Control-T, see if you can do that. First step is to do 14 times 18. You can do that on your own. Won't be easy. See if you can do it. Number 5, I'm going to solve the first one for you. We're going to solve for h. So we got to get rid of the 1/2 and the b. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2, and then just divide by b. And ding, 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 that's it. 2a over b equals h. It's easy. Okay, on the next one, we need to solve for L. So we're going to move the 2w over. I'm going to get p minus 2w equals 2L. Then divide by 2. That's it. The 2's cancel out, so L will equal to the perimeter times twice the width divided by 2. Piece of cake. Piece of cake. Y'all got this. Oh. Go to number 6. These are your exponents and square roots. Gonna get this down. You will get this down. On this one right here, you should punch 15 divided by 18 on the calculator. Don't put any of the letters in. 15 divided by 18 is 5 over 6. Any answer without 5 over 6 is wrong. Now then, I'm going to show you how to do this the way the state of Texas thinks you're supposed to do it. So you're going to write down x, and you will subtract, because we're dividing, the numerator minus the denominator. I taught you to rewrite it and make them all positive and then group, because you don't make math errors that way, okay? On the next one, we're going to have y negative 4 minus 6. You're going to have to do your integers right or you're going to miss it, okay? This turns into 5 over 6 x. Negative 3 minus negative 5 is negative 3 plus 5, which is 2. Negative 4 minus 6 is y to the negative 10. That could be the answer. To make them all positive, the y goes to the bottom. So draw a fraction bar, 5 over 6. X stays on top, y goes to the bottom. That's probably what's going to be on star. 5x squared over 6y 10. Okay? Go to the next one. Type in 27 to the 2/3. So 27 to the 2/3, 27, caret, control divide, 2 down 3. Got 27 to the 2/3. Make sure you type in a fractional exponent. Hit enter. Ding, ding, ding. You get 9. That's all you got to do. Now then, this turns into the cubed root of 27 to the 2nd power. And if you were to do the factors of 27, you get this. 3 times 3 times 3. I want the cubed root, so I'm going to take a 3 out. And 3 to the 2nd is 9. That's how you get 9. All you got to be able to do is go from here to here, though. Okay, that's it. The next one, 75, you need the prime factors of 75. So go to your calculator, menu, hit number 2, and then we want the factors 3, and we want the factors of 75, so hit enter, and it's 3 times 5 squared. So we're going to write down 3 times 5 times 5, and remember, we're going to circle a pair of 2's because we have a square root. We don't have a cubed root. So I'm going to take a 5 out, and the 3 stays in. These two answers will give me the same decimal, okay? On the next one, type in 15, negative 2. 15, caret, negative 2. It is not negative, is it? It's 1 over 225 in it. The 225 is 15 to the 2nd, but since it has a negative 2, the 225 is not in the numerator, it's in the denominator. So this turns into 1 over 15 squared, which is 1 over 225. Piece of cake. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Oh, a causation means X makes Y happen. If X makes Y happen, I'm going to circle it, okay? The number of nickels you find and the amount of money you have. The more nickels you find, the more money you have. Ding, 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 ding. That's a causation. The size shoe and your math grade. Your shoe size does not impact your math grade. We will not circle it. The size of a lake and the volume. Ding, ding, ding. The bigger the area, the more the volume. That makes sense. That is a causation. On the next one. Okay, I'm only going to do one of these. Point A to point D. So bullet them. I want to go from here to here. But remember, the slope is from left to right. So to go from left to right, we're going to go down and to the right. The slope is up or down to the right. Up or down to the right. So we went down 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over 5, didn't we? So our slope is going to be -2 over 5. I'm going to let you finish the rest up on your own. Remember, left to right. Okay? Turn the page! Going through this quick so I can get one video, okay? On this problem here, try to get 2 sets with positive numbers. We can't do it, so we're going to work with these 2 right here. And we want to change them to Y-intercept and standard. First thing you need to do is get the slope. So I'm going to get the slope with these. To go from 2 to 5, I'm going to the right. I got a +3, don't I? And then from 3 to -3, I'm going to the left, and I'm going to the left -6. That right there is my x minus x and my y minus y. So my slope on this first table is going to be -6 over 3, which is -2. That's my m in it. Now then, I'm going to use this point and this point for my x and my y. I'm going to plug it into point slope. Remember, point slope is this. So we're going to have y, and then -3 equals -2 parentheses x minus 2. So I put 3 and 2 into my point slope formula, didn't I? And when you plug the numbers in, they flip signs, don't they? When you take them out, they flip signs because of the minuses. Now then, I'm going to distribute my -2. This doesn't have a fraction, so it won't be that difficult. Y minus 3 equals -2x plus 4. And now then, to get y-intercept, I just move the 3 over. So plus 3, so my y-intercept is going to be y equals -2x plus 7. So y equals -2x plus 7. And to get my standard, I'm going to move the x to the left. So I would end up with 2x plus y equals 7. 2x plus y equals 7. You're going to do the same thing for the next one. I would use these 2 numbers right here because everything's positive in it. And I would make my x and y 3 and 9. So find the slope, just the same way I did. Use 3 and 9m for your point slope and switch it to a standard into y-intercept. Piece of cake. Oh! And going on. Number 11. This is a hard problem. You're probably going to have one of these on the star. You're going to be given the line. You got a parallel and perpendicular and a point and write another equation. Probably have one of these, so make sure you can do it. This right here, remember the slope is -a over b. So if I were to do that, I would have -2 over -3, which is 2 over 3. That's my slope. But I want a perpendicular slope to it. So remember, I told you to draw an arrow with a perpendicular symbol. We're going to flip and switch the sign, aren't we? So -3 over 2. That's my m, and this is my x and my y. I'm going to plug in the point slope. Y minus 1 equals -3 over 2 parentheses x plus 4. So the signs flip, don't they? The -4 turn into +4. The +1 turn into a -1. Now then, I got to get rid of that fraction of 2. So I'm going to bluebell truck 2 3 times, aren't I? That deletes the 2's in the middle. But the -3 goes to the right. So the denominator goes left, the numerator goes right. We're going to multiply. 2y minus 2 equals -3x minus 12. Now then, to get the next step is to move this over. So we're going to add 2 to both sides, and we're going to get -2y equals -3x minus 10. To get the y-intercept, I'm going to divide everything by -2. And that's going to turn into y equals 3 over 2x plus 5. Now then, I'm going to take the same equation, and to make it standard, I'm going to move the 3x over. So 3x minus 2y equals -10. So that's my standard and my slope-intercept form. That's a hard problem, a lot of steps. Okay, if you've been doing it every week, it gets easy though, okay? Continuing on, okay? We're into the quadratic section now, okay? This is 6b, okay? Take 6b. This is a hard problem because you got to give it a point and a vertex, make the vertex form, and switch it to standard. This is not easy, okay? A lot of steps, so let's go it. This is my point, xy. This is my vertex, hk. So we're going to write down y equals a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. That's the vertex form. We have to find out what a is. So I'm going to plug the numbers in. The y is -3. The a we don't know. The x is 2. The h is 6, but the sign switches. And then the k is 1. I need to solve for a. So I'm going to do this part first. 2 minus 6 is -4, and -4 squared is 16, and 16 times a is 16a. So -3 equals 16a plus 1. Move over the 1. So -4 equals 16a, divide by 16, and -1 over 4 equals a. Okay, so the first step is to plug everything into vertex form and solve for a. -1/4 means that parabola is going to get flipped and it's going to get horizontally stretched or vertically compressed. So the formula is going to be -1 over 4 and then x minus 6 squared plus 1. So this number and this number stay in the formula, right? We just take out the x and the y. So this right here would graph the parabola, okay? That right there would graph the parabola, okay? Because we've solved for a. Now then, we got to go from there to standard, and this isn't easy. So y equals -1 over 4, x minus 6 squared plus 1. Remember, and I'm going to do this one time, and I'm going to put it over here. If we do x minus 6 times x minus 6 and draw the arches, it's x squared minus 6x minus 6x. -6 and -6 is plus 36. And then the arches are -12x, aren't they? So I taught you a shortcut, and it's a -1/4 too, isn't it? -1/4 parentheses, x times x is x squared. -6 times -6 is plus 36. -6 times x is -6x, double it, -12x plus 1. The next step is to distribute, there's a lot of steps here, is to distribute the -1/4. So I'm going to have -1 over 4x squared plus 3x minus 9 plus 1. And then lastly, we're going to group these two. So the final equation will be -1 over 4x squared plus 3x and then minus 8. These would graph the same parabola. So if I graph both those parabolas, they'd sit right on top of each other. And remember that -8 is the y-intercept. Wow, a lot of math there. Let's go to 13. These are the transformations. Okay. Remember, if you have this, a parentheses x minus h squared plus k, if it's negative, it reflects it across. The a vertically stretches or vertically compresses. The h is left or right. The k is up or down. Sure you remember this. So this one right here is not reflected. The 3 is vertically stretched. The parabola is going to get thinner because of that 3, right? The plus 1, it's opposite. That's translate left 1. And then the minus 3 is translate down 3. I'm going to do one more with you, okay? This negative right here is a reflect across x-axis. Now then, do y'all see how the 2 is in front of the x, but it's inside the parentheses? That means horizontal. So the 2 means it's going to get thinner, which means you're horizontally smashing it or vertically stretching it, okay? So write down a horizontal compress. Notice there's no add or subtract number inside the parentheses, so it's not getting moved left or right, and the plus 1 is a translate up 1. And I'm going to let you do the next one. On this one right here, we don't have a number here, do we? So we're not moving it up or down. So this is going to be a horizontal stretch, and then the -3 will be a translate to the right one. You can do that one on your own. Number 14, these aren't easy. We're going to convert vertex to standard. So I'm going to do the first one because it has a fraction. We're going to drop the -1/2 parentheses, and remember, square, square, multiply, double. So x times x is x squared. Skip a spot. -4 times -4 is plus 16. And then multiply -4x, double it, -8x. If we did x minus 4, both of our arches would be -4x. We would double it. -7. The next step is to distribute that -1/2. So I'm going to have -1/2 x squared plus 4x minus 8 minus 7. Now I'm going to group these. So it's going to be -1/2 x squared plus 4x minus 15. Ho, 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 ho. Keep rocking and rolling. Try to finish this up. And number 15, we're going to solve for quadratics on these. Next week, you're going to do most of this on your own. You're going to square root. We're going to get rid of the second power. And we're going to get x minus 4 equals, and remember, the 36 is a plus or minus 6. Then we move the 4 over. That gives us 4 plus 6. Jiminy crickets. 4 plus 6 and 4 minus 6, doesn't it? So x equals 4 plus 6 is 10 and 4 minus 6 is -2. Those are the x-intercepts. I can also get this by graphing and tracing, right? If I graph and trace, I'll trace the 10 and -2 for my zeros. Piece of cake. Let's do 16. The easiest way to solve is by factoring. So I'm going to take the 18 and factor it, and 2 times 9 works, doesn't it? So I'm going to put the biggest factor first. This sign goes to the biggest one, plus, and then we're going to divide by x, and that's going to give me my factors of x minus 9 and x plus 2, right? Now then, set both factors equal to 0, because you want to find out the x-intercepts. X equals 9 and -2. Remember, you could also graph and trace, right? If I graph that line and trace it, I'm going to get 9 and -2 for my x-intercepts. Keep on rocking and rolling. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Okay, let's go to 17. On 17, can I get factors of 9 that subtract and give me 7? 1 and 9 and 3 and 3 won't work. That means this will not be integral or real number factors, okay? So I'm going to do this with the quadratic formula, okay? So remember, we need to do b squared minus 4ac. And also remember, this is on your formula chart. The quadratic formula is -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So that's what we're about to do. We're going to do b squared minus 4ac first, though. So my a is equal to 1, my b is equal to -7, and my c is equal to -9. I can also type this in and trace to the zeros, okay? But the zeros are going to be decimals. On the test, they may be square roots, so you're going to have to switch them. Now then, let's go. So my b is -7 squared minus 4 times 1 times -9. Type that as is into the calculator. This is going to be 49 plus 36, which is 85. Now then, let's plug into the quadratic formula. If I put a -7 here, I'm going to have minus -7 plus or minus the square root of 85 all over 2 times 1. Okay, this is going to turn into 2 negatives makes a positive. 7 plus or minus the square root of 85 all over 2. That could be the answer on the STAR test. The other way to do it, if you punch that into the calculator, you'll get 2 decimals. That's what you get when you graph and trace, okay? But this right here is the exact answer. Let's go to number 25, okay? So remember, this is my A term and this is my B term. We just did a lesson over this, or a unit. So we're going to, let's just graph 3 times 2 to the x. Okay, so go to your calculator, hit home. We're going to go to graph B. And then do I got that in there, so 3 parentheses 2, and then caret x. Did I do it right? 3 times 2 to the x. 3 times 2 to the x. I'm going to hit enter. And then hit Control T. And then those right there are my answers, right? That's what's going to go in the table. So I know my first term is 6, so I'm going to go in here. My first term is 6. If I go to the right, I'm going to multiply by 2, aren't I? So 12. My 0 term is 3. And then if I go to the left, I'm multiplying by a half. So this will be 3 over 2. 3 over 2 times a half is 3 over 4. On the table, it's going to be 0.75 and 1.5 in it. Now then, when we graph this and make our domain and range, we're going to use these numbers, and we're just going to not draw arrows, we're going to draw dots, okay? So negative 2 is 3/4, which is about right here. Negative 1 is 1.5. 0 is 3. 1 is 6. And 2 is 12. It'll be up here. Just connect those dots, okay? So our domain and range will go from dot to dot, okay? So the domain goes from negative 2 to 2, right? Well, let's first do this. The y-intercept of the graph would be 3, and it is the initial amount, or the starting number, right? The initial amount or the starting number. What would the common product of the graph be? The common product of the graph would be 2, okay? And then the domain goes from negative 2 to positive 2, and you put less than or equal signs, right? The range is going to go from 3/4 to 12, right? So we're going to put 3/4 to 12, and we're going to put less than or equal symbols. Okay? If we drew the graph with arrow tips, the domain would be all real numbers, and the range would be y greater than or equal to 0, and the x-axis would be the asymptote, right? And the formula for the x-axis is y equals 0. Don't forget that, okay? Next week, you're going to have a star review that's very similar to this, okay? So next week, we're going to do very similar. I'm not going to do as many. Watch this video, see if you can repeat the process. The more you do these, it's going to get easy. Remember, you are amazing. You are created to do wonderful things, and you are awesome.